Well, a group of left-wing activists in Chicago is training itself for war. It's called the Haymaker Collective, and it says that Donald Trump's election has caused a surge of fascist violence in America, and they want to establish their own anti-fascist gym to teach the left how to fight back. Nyla is a member of the Haymaker Collective and is a participant in the new gym project. It's not a real name, by the way, but a pseudonym we were given. Nyla joins us tonight. Nyla, thanks a lot for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
So I'm here to take you seriously. You're starting a gym to prepare yourself for the coming war, for the conflict. What are you preparing yourself for?
The conflict has already been established. We've seen since 2016 there's been a 20% increase in hate crimes, both nationally and in the city of Chicago. We know that there's certain bodies that are vulnerable to attack, that there's been an increase in racism and xenophobia, and that we feel that it's necessary for us to learn self-defense skills. So rather than feeling frightened and isolated and alone, that we can come together, build strength in solidarity with one another with an autonomous gym formation.
Look, I'm for free association. I'm for gyms. I'm not, I guess, against this. I just sort of wonder if your concern isn't misplaced. I mean, Chicago is a really dangerous place. I think you've had about 2,000 shootings so far just this year. I don't think any of them are perpetrated by right-wingers that I know of or Trump supporters, any of them. So maybe you've got other things to worry about.
Well, according to statistics, we do have something to worry about. The Cato Institute records that the vast majority of violent extremism comes from right-wing white nationalists. We also know that according to statistics, 80% of deadly terrorist incidents that happen within the United States are perpetuated by people who feel that other bodies, different people, races, and religions don't belong. Right. So when I think about the threats that I'm facing,
those are made up. So for whatever it's worth, I mean, I don't want to interrupt you, but those are totally made up statistics, and you should spend some time looking at them. But let me just ask you this: of the 2,000 shootings in Chicago,
you are welcome to look at the statistics. They're provided by the Cato Institute. They're also provided by California State University. I also have a number of statistics that are provided by
but let me just ask you
the Southern Poverty Law Center.
Okay. Oh, okay. Kind of the bottom line, I guess. But if we could just bring it from the national to the local. You live in Chicago, which, as I just said, I think this is a correct statistic, has had about 2,000 murders just in the first 7 months, less than 7 months of the year. How many, rather shootings, how many of those 2,000 shootings were perpetrated by right-wingers, do you think?
Again, you can look at the Chicago Police Department. They do collect information, but we're more interested in the hate crimes that have been occurring to people like myself.
Okay, right, but I mean, when people are shooting 2,000 people, okay, shot, and I don't think any of them were bias crimes against people like you, as you just put it. I don't think any of those were Trump supporters pulling the trigger. Do you know otherwise?
Carlson, if you don't know, then I'm not going to sit here and give you statistics, but I will tell you that the stories that are making me afraid and fearful when I take the bus, when I take the bus home alone by myself on public transportation, I don't feel safe, because just May 26th in Portland on the light rail, there were 2 black women who were approached and confronted by a white man who calls himself a patriot. 3 other white men came to those 2 women's defense, and they were stabbed in the neck, and 2 of them died.
Right, I saw the story. It was an awful story. But I'm just saying, in the city that you live in, because you don't live in Portland, Oregon, you live in Chicago, Illinois, again, I made the point, but you've had 2,000 shootings, and none of them were by Trump supporters, but that doesn't bother you. But a stabbing on a train in Portland, Oregon is the reason you're afraid to ride the train in Chicago. It seems a little bit disassociated. Where are you on the question of gun ownership?
I mean, well, Tucker, here's the thing. First of all, on the question of what we're doing, we're providing a self-defense gym so that people may learn martial arts.
Yep.
So that people can learn martial arts, so people like me don't feel like they can't ride public transportation or go to their houses of worship without being harassed.
I'm not a shrink or anything, but I'm just worried that your fears may be a little bit overblown. Like, you've got a terrible gang problem in Chicago, but does that scare you at all? Like, if you were to go to the south side of Chicago, would you be worried about Trump supporters down there?
Tucker, I already live on the south side, number one. Number two,
How many Trump supporters in your neighborhood?
Quite a few. I'm sure you can look it up. But on the question of gun ownership, we can look that even how owning a gun doesn't protect one. Philando Castile was a licensed gun owner, and he told that to the officer while he was shot on Facebook Live in front of his 4-year-old daughter and his partner. So the question of gun ownership should be something that you should be giving to the National Rifle Association as to why they're not taking.
Wait, can I ask you a question? Can I ask a question? If so, you're like against the system and you think the system's rotten and racist and all that stuff, but you want only the cops and other government officials who you believe are racist to have guns? How does that work exactly, Nyla?
I don't understand your question. What we're saying is that
so if you think America is institutionally racist, why do you think only government officials, police, National Guard, soldiers ought to have guns? I mean, why wouldn't you want a gun too? I don't understand why you're against private gun ownership if you think our country's racist.
If you're bringing me on your show to talk about the project that we're starting, the project we're starting is a self-defense gym so that people can learn hand-to-hand self-defense tactics.
I got it. It's just like guns are more effective than karate chops, so I'm just sort of wondering where you were on the gun thing.
Okay, well, on the question of guns, we don't have an answer because what we're doing is starting a project with where we are. And what we know is that we need to grow strength together. We have to learn the responses physically to respond to some of these incidents that are happening. The question for me, again, is not on the people shooting me with guns. The question is incidents like Nabra Hassanin, who was murdered while she was walking from her mosque in Washington, D.C. to a McDonald's for breakfast with a group of other teenagers.
Was she killed by a Trump supporter? Wasn't she? I thought she was killed by an illegal alien, wasn't she?
She was killed by a man who decided to go after her with a bat.
Yeah, that was not a Trump supporter, actually. That was an illegal alien. Bad example. I'm sure there are others. Now, we're out of time, unfortunately. It was great to talk to you.
I don't know why.
Sorry.